Welcome to another session on looking at consonants and all of the different ways that it can help you run your publishing company. My name's Emma Barnes. I keep finishing these videos really badly. I keep clicking on the wrong button and then my face just freezes and they stop. So I'm going to get the last bit in first, which is, can you please like and subscribe? Because it makes, well, the likes are just for vanity, but the subscribe means that you can get notified about new live streams that are up and coming, and it saves me having to email everybody or clutter up your inbox or do other things. So if you subscribe to this channel and then click on the notify button, if you do want to be notified, you don't have to be, of course. I'll always be here waiting to tell you all of this stuff in your own good time, but if you do want to be notified, then set that up and use the tools in YouTube to get you going. So great. So I'll try really hard not to just freeze at the end of the session today, but who knows. Let's see if I can get this technology to work. Today we are doing the second deep dive. So as you remember, we've gone through all of the process of using consonants for the basics, and from now until the end of time we are going to keep diving deep into different parts of consonants as it becomes relevant, and today we're going to be looking at importing from a spreadsheet, which is rather lovely. Let me flip us over to looking at what we're going to be covering today. So as I say, we're going to just focus on one thing a week now, and not try to do too many broad brushstroke monologues at you, but this time it's going to be a deep dive into into the next thing on the list on this page. So this is our marketing website, www.consonants.app. And if you go to resources, there's a link called Consonants 101, and it's like a shortcut page to a variety of articles and help documentations about various bits. And on this page, there's a whole section about getting your data in, because, you know, if you think about it, consonants is all about getting your data in, managing the data, and getting your data out. Seems so simple, isn't it? But the whole point is to help you get your books in front of readers, and so vital to not only get the data in and manage it, but disseminate it properly to the right places afterwards. So we're going to be trundling through that whole process, and like I say, today we're looking at importing data from spreadsheets, and I'm going to focus on one particular spreadsheet again, so we don't try and cover too much in one go. And so this week it's going to be prices. If you do want me to cover one of the other import from spreadsheet topics in enormous depth as well, then definitely shout, and I'll layer that one back on. But I thought we'd do the prices one because it's that sort. It feels like that sort of time of year actually, where you might want to be looking at all of your pricing and thinking, do we want to, change everything by 5%? Do we want to have a price hike? Do we want to just have a review? So being able to manage those prices in bulk can be very helpful and time saving. So that's what we're doing today. I'll take you through we're going to actually be following quite closely the documentation. What I really want is for these videos to be an accessory to the written documentation that already exists. I don't want you to have to listen to me blathering on for an hour every week about particular things when you can just do a text search and go to the documentation and find it. So I'll show you the source of the material for this session, which you can then refer to later. And then we're going to step through a price import. And I'm going to try to get it as wrong as I can so that we encounter all sorts of exciting eventualities, because it's better that I do it on my time than you do it with your real live data. So we'll do that, and we'll do some troubleshooting and look at some sort of ideal ways to go about one of these processes and take it from there. So we're going to be looking at using the pricing importer. We'll be getting a template from Consonants, filling it in a range of ways that I'll show you, and then importing it, letting Consonance look at that data first of all and validate it before the big scary import button is pressed. And then we'll see that the prices appear as you'd expect. So what we will do is flip over to our page that we've been looking at on Consonance. It's a publisher that doesn't exist. It's a demo publisher. It's called Feline Press. You're becoming very familiar with the works of Feline Press by now, I expect. And today we're going to be looking at the prices section. So I've taken you to the metadata page first of all, and we can see that for this particular work called Cats Throughout History, this client, Feline Press, this publisher is set up to be a publisher who can manage prices in two different kind of flavours. And this starts to give you a sense of how we manage pricing within Consonance. So let's have a little look at this. We've got a GBP Inc. tax price. So that means it's in the Great British Pound currency. Silly name for currency, isn't it? And it includes tax. And we've also got a USD, a United States dollar, currency price, and that one excludes tax. And if I click on the help icon, there's another component to a price that is actually covered in the headline of this region here, and it's the fact that it's the consumer RRP, which means recommended retail price. Now this client is set up to be, Feline Press is set up to be quite straightforward. We've got two prices, one GBP Inc., one USDX. But some of our clients have membership prices, subscriber prices, library prices, corporate prices. And when your account is set up like that, you'll have one region for each of those types of prices. So we're only looking at a client configuration that only has consumer RRP here. But if you're an organisation that manages one of the other types of pricing, library pricing for instance, then you'll see another region on the metadata page here. Now I'm going to click on this hovery help icon, because this will give us ever more information about what we're looking at when we're looking at prices in Consonance. So I'm going to click on that, and that brings up some information, and I don't necessarily want to read off the screen directly at you, but I will say that this column is talking about the United States consumer RRP price for a product, and we're kind of structuring this price in a way that takes account of all of these three aspects of a price that I've talked about: the currency, the price type, and the price type qualifier. Now we use those words specifically because that's how the Onyx standard talks about them, and there's links to click through to see the Onyx standard code lists there, which we will be using in a bit. So when we're talking about prices, we're talking about to describe a single price, we're talking about a combination of a currency code, a price type, and a price type qualifier. So hopefully this is starting to orient you a little bit. That's the help on the header of this page, by the way. If I'm to click on one of these actual prices, more information appears, and this is to do with what this price is like relative to your home price. So we've talked about this in one of the other videos, and it's not relevant to importing information, but whilst I'm hovering over it, I may as well show you. This pop-up dialog box says that the USD consumer RRP price for this book, for this product, is $12.95, and it also says, so this is a USD consumer RRP price. If you're coming here and you're looking for the Indian rupee library price and you don't see it, that's your cue to raise a ticket to say, I would love to be able to manage my Indian rupee library prices, and then we will set up your account. The support team here will set up your account to accommodate that that information. And then you'll see another column here, and it says this is the Indian rupee price. Because, you know, if you think about it, there are, I don't know how many actually, hundreds, a good few currency codes, and we don't want every client to have to look at every single currency code of every different tax flavour and pick your way through and think, gosh, what do I need to enter? So it's best if you let us know which prices you want to manage, and then we'll set you up accordingly. And the whole point of this this pop-up thing here is to draw your attention to the conversion of the currency value between your home currency and all of the other ones, just in case there's any funniness going on that we think it might be useful for you to know about. It's probably entirely deliberate, you know, but it's just handy, you know, if we go in here and we change one of these prices to $112.95, then Constance is now giving you a bit of a visual clue, 892% of GBP, and it says, you know, well, that's actually quite a disparity. It's, you know, 892% of what your price would be if you converted it at the current exchange rate back to your home currency for the same type of price. So it's quite nice just to see and just to think, no, I am intending on having my USD prices at 892%. That's exactly the plan. Or it might be an opportunity for you to think, yeah, better have a look at that. And if you think, yeah, better have a look at that, and you feel like you want to do a bit of a price update, then this is the live stream for you, isn't it? Because that's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to change all of these prices, but we're not going to come to the metadata page. We're not going to click here, and we're not going to change them all to a different price like this, although that is completely fine and valid. But, you know, if you're doing a company-wide price change, you don't really want to have to update all 1,500 products on a Tuesday morning or whenever. So we're going to do it by using one of our bulk importers. So how do I find out what to do? First thing I do is go and get the documentation up. And I know that it is available on this link here. I'm going to click on Help down at the bottom left. And there's a link to documentation, and if I click on that, then my documentation page is going to load. If you navigate to the documentation like that, then whenever you see one of the links in the documentation, so let's find our importers. The links from this website will take you back to your account, and you have to be logged in, which is entirely appropriate. But like if we go to import prices and see, you know, we'll come back and read it properly, see what it says. Oh, of course there aren't any links. I've chosen the one article that haven't got any links. Let's find another one. Import data using a template. That'll do. There we go. So this is the sort of thing I'm looking at, and it's got a little arrowy thing implying, you know, it's going off to another website. And if you click on that, then that's going to take you back to your account, and it's going to take you to the relevant page. So it's quite nice to be able to just sort of fluidly navigate back, is all I'm saying. But what we could have done there was have a look at what the instructions are. So I'm going to keep the documentation open, and I'm going to keep the Consonance web app open as well, and then we can flip back between the two. And I'm going to draw your attention to this piece of documentation first of all, because this gives an overview of what Consonance can provide in terms of being able to import various sorts of data from a spreadsheet. And you know, we start to talk about it here. This is the sort of data that we can import, and we're trying to give you a sense of how the process works. So it's a two-step process. When you import the data, you get a chance to look at it in its sort of staging state before you hit the button and it, you know, imports a vast amount of data. So that the imported data is validated, it says, and you're presented with error and autocorrect messages for review. So as I said, today we're going to be doing that. We're going to be stepping through it. I'll try and make as many mistakes as possible, and then we'll be able to see Consonance saving me from myself, trying to trying to smooth the path. Once we've got a decent import and once the data is error-free, then the button will be enabled, and that allows you to actually import that data into Consonance, and then some of the stuff about, make sure you stay up to date. So here are the steps. First things first, we download a spreadsheet template to set up our import. And I've already clicked on this link, go to Data Exchange and Imports, and it says click on New Import and choose the type of import you want to perform, and then download the template spreadsheet by clicking its name. So here I am on the thing, and I'm going to go to New Import, and these are the types of import that are available at the moment. We are going to be using prices today, so I click Import Prices, and it takes me to a page that is going to try and shuttle me back to the documentation if I've landed on this from somewhere else. Make that a little bit bigger. And so 4-step process. First step, download the prices template spreadsheet. That's the link, and if I click on that, it's going to just download it to my desktop. Then add your data to the spreadsheet, and we're going to be looking at how to complete the prices template. Then we click to upload it, and then we review errors and loop around that process a few times if we need to make some changes in our Excel spreadsheet and upload another one. So that is the process. If you introduce errors that Consonance picks up, like, I don't know, the ISBN is missing or something, you don't then go to Consonance and start typing data in to fill in the gaps. No, you go back to Excel and you get your Excel spreadsheet spot on perfect, and then you upload the whole thing again. Otherwise you start to get a slightly fragmented process and it's all a bit weird. So if you make a mistake, it's back to Excel, make the changes there, and then have another go. But this is the great thing about having this sort of staging approach. You upload something, you look at it. If you're not happy, you have a chance to sort of back out of it and try again. So we are going to flip over now to Excel, which is not my favourite program in the world, I have to say, but this is me proving that it works earlier. Great news. And I'm going to open up the template that I've downloaded from Consonance. Maybe that one will do. Nice. And this is a single bit of data that I've added in there, but we're going to look at it exactly as it is when it gets downloaded from Consonance. So it's not exactly flashy or over the top. It's only got a few fields. I have to make it bigger so you can actually see. We've got an ISBN column. We've got a title column. Then we've got the 3 aspects of a price that I was talking about earlier. We've got the currency code, the price type, the price qualifier, and then we've got the actual price amount itself. So like fairly safe to say that something like $7.99 is going to go in there. But all of the rest of these fields, because we're in Excel now, we, the Consonance team, don't have any control over what you're doing in Excel. So we have to use documentation to tell you what we expect to see in this file. So let's just hop over to that documentation and see what's going on. So we will go to the pricing, not just the generic one, but the prices one. And then we're going to have a look, if it loads, please. And then we're going to have a look at what to put in each of these columns. So we've just come from the general importing process documentation. And now we're being urged to add data to the prices template spreadsheet. Great. And it says each row in the Excel spreadsheet is going to represent one price for one product in one currency with one price type and price qualifier. So that means that you could do an import and it would have 7, 10 rows, but that could be different prices for the same product. So recall earlier in this series we were talking about how Consonance structures its data. There's a work, and a work has many products. So the work you could think of as the manuscript. You don't sell the manuscript, but it does have features and attributes that are useful to know about that tend to get shared across the products of that work. So it's very rare that you'd have a different set of subject categorization codes for the hardback and the paperback, right? You know, if it's steampunk, it's a steampunk hardback and it's a steampunk paperback. It's not a, you know, memoir hardback and a steampunk paperback. That would be a different work. So there's data that's held at the work level, and that is rightly sort of held there, shared amongst all of the products, so that you don't have to type it in for each individual product, because where would that get you? That would like triple, quadruple your work, your effort. No, instead we talk about products as being the things that get sold. You sell a hardback, you sell a paperback, or get read, you know, you read the open access PDF. And these are the things, not open access, these are the things that you attach prices to. So when it says on our documentation here, each row represents one price for one product, and blah, 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 we are talking about, I mean, you might call it the ISBN. I mean, that's irritating because the ISBN is a 13-digit identifier. It doesn't suggest to me that that is the product. So, you know, let's use the right words here. It's not a title. It's another one that drives me round the twist. It's a product, and those are the things that have prices. I know it's when you have to type this stuff for a living. You know, it's nice to get it organised in your head. So each row is one price for one product in one currency. Blah, blah, blah. We also exhort you here to not change the column headers, thanks, because that's how Consonance is going to figure out how which bit of data we're talking about. Like I say, we don't own Excel. We have no control over Excel. So we have to make sure that the data that you put in Excel, we're going to be able to understand. So don't change the column headers. Don't add any other columns as well, which is a bit of a gotcha actually, because, you know, when we start filling in this spreadsheet, we're going to be bringing in data from other places so that we can copy and paste and perform operations on it and things. There is definitely a stage of just, you know, looking at your spreadsheet when you're done and thinking, does this look like the sort of data that I'm now going to officially absorb into my Consonance account? So we'll look at that. And it says complete all of the columns except for title to identify the spreadsheet as an import of prices and to give Consonance a chance to validate that information. And you can also throw quite a lot of data at Consonance using this approach as well. Excel kind of tops out at some millions of rows. So if Excel can manage it, then Consonance can do it as well. So this is quite a suitable approach for one of those maybe annual huge price reviews where some business rules are decided upon, like we're going to increase our ebook prices by 20% or something like that, and then we can use this approach to do that. Okay, so on to the columns themselves. So the first one, like I say, is the ISBN, and if we go back to the spreadsheet template in question, this is the column we're talking about, the column A, the first one. And it says it's required, it says it's part of the set of data we need. And now we start talking about what Excel does to ISBNs, because, oh my word, it's a known thing, isn't it? Seeing that weird format of numbers that appears every time you put an ISBN into Excel. So what we've said is format the ISBN column as number with no decimal places, and that tends to work. So we'll have a look at that. And it also says, like, do it right. Busy, okay. The second column is called title, and this isn't actually required. Sometimes you know all of your ISBNs off by heart. Well done, very impressive. Sometimes it's just nice to have this sort of reference column where you see the title of the product. And you see why we have to use the right words. The title, the name of the book, the title of the book goes in there. So that's nice. Next column down is the currency code. This is required. This is part of the... and then we've given you this link to the currency codes that you're allowed to use should be comprehensive. If it's not, it's because Onyx doesn't know about the currency code. Doesn't sound right. And then only use currencies that are registered to your client. This is what I was talking about earlier. And when I say registered to your client, the way to look at that, sorry, wrong place, is to go to the, I won't find it, go to the metadata page, look at that bit that we were looking at, the prices section of the metadata page, and the currencies that you see there in the columns, those are the ones that your account is set up to manage. Let me right mouse and open this currency code so that you can see what is there. It's the famous Onyx code list 96. All of these code lists are available in your account, by the way, should you ever want to go scampering through them. Thrilling stuff. But in fact, you know what? It is thrilling because it's like it's a political history of shifts and changes in how different countries and regions have, had different currencies over time and how they've shifted. So it's quite interesting. But we won't go into that, will we? Won't get sidetracked. I'm trying to stay focused. So those are the currency codes from which you can choose. Next column is price type. And I think anyone would be forgiven for getting slightly, having to remind oneself what's the difference between price type and price qualifier. But do enough of this and you'll get extremely clear. Same sort of thing. It's a required column. It's part of the required unique combination. Here are the valid options. Let's open that in a new link. 58 this time. And quite often it's number 1 and number 2 that are the popular choices there. So 01 is the recommended retail price excluding tax. These notes are from the Onyx standard itself. And code list option 02 is recommended retail price including tax. And so depending on the conventions of the economy where you're pricing up, you'll want to price your products accordingly. As a general rule of thumb, GBP, consumer pricing, includes tax, and USD consumer pricing excludes tax, and that's probably because of the complexities of sales tax in the States, I would expect, probably. But those are the usual ways that people add prices into Consonance. So that's the price type. Let's quickly open the price qualifier and have a look. Open link in new tab. Number 59. So these are things like we were talking about consumer price there. You see 05. So that's the only price type qualifier that Feline Press is set up to manage. But there are all of these other options. Aren't they interesting? Like corporate price and subscription service price and academic library price. So many different ones. So depending on who you're sending Onyx to, there can be an arrangement to send different price type qualifiers to them such that you can communicate the price for those markets to those recipients. So this really does boil down to what your business rules are. So, depending on that, you'll be managing different types of prices. And if there's any confusion about that, if you need some guidance, then definitely drop us a line. But it's a individual, like company by company thing to talk about. So we've talked about some of these columns so far. The ISBN, the only one that's optional is the title. Then the currency code, the price type and the price qualifier. And then finally, hooray, the price amount. And the notes that we mention on that is that it must have a maximum of 2 decimal places, because you don't want Consonance starting to second guess your pricing. There aren't currencies where there's more than 2 decimal places. I mean, I hope that there'll be comments on this video saying, actually, I think we're fine. But should I say the vast majority of currencies don't support prices in more than 2 decimal places. Oh, I'm going to get such emails. May only contain a full stop for the decimal point. I mean, that's probably a bit more controversial, but that's the rule. That's the rule for consonants. So please oblige. And it mustn't be negative. You can't add a negative price in, but you can add a 0 price. Right, first vitally important note. If the price amount is blank, the import will remove that price entirely. That's a feature, not a bug. But if you sent us a spreadsheet full of ISBNs and you left the price amount column blank, and then you looked at the staging position, the import, and you thought, yep, fine, I'm deleting all these prices, and you clicked approve, then that would, do what it says on the tin. It would remove the prices. So don't do that. If you do that, don't do that. If you do that, raise a ticket and we'll get them back for you. But be aware that this is a feature of bulk updating prices. Sometimes it's important to remove prices, so there needs to be a mechanism, and this is how it is. And then there's some other info there, all really about if you get in a pickle, raise a ticket. I mean, it's a rule for life, isn't it? But we're going to start with this useful bit of information, which is downloading existing prices. Because if we think, okay, I want to do a complete price update, all of my prices for a particular period of time, we're going to change for a particular format as well. We're going to change them by blur percent. Where do I start? And a great place to start is by downloading the existing prices, and then use that as the basis for the activity. So let's do that now. I'm going to go to Feline Press. Yes, good. And following those instructions, I'm going to go to Data Exchange CSV Exports. CSV Exports, which is a great page for enormous dumps of data. If you need to get your data out into a spreadsheety format, CSV, then come here and it's great fun. And I'm going to get prices because this looks perfect. Look, all prices listed by type, qualifier and currency. This is the trifecta for each product. Great. So I'm going to click on that. And what it does is download it immediately to my desktop. And then I'm going to be able to open that in Excel. I hope I'm going to be able to open it in Excel anyway. So open, and there's my downloads, and there they all are. So in this big data dump, I've got the Consonance product ID, I've got the Consonance client ID, which is of course all the same, I've got the Consonance client identifier, Beeline Press, I've got the publisher's reference, not filled in, I've got work URL, I've got the publisher's ISBN, which is blank for a lot of these because these are fake products. I've got some other information, and then I've got price type, fabulous, and that's things like RRP including tax, great. I've got the price qualifier, consumer price, amazing. I've got the currency code, it's all right there for me, and I've got the price amount. So these 4 columns are very, very handy indeed. So this is my starting point. If I've been tasked by somebody to increase all of the GBP prices by 5%, then I'm going to start using my incredible Excel skills to get this existing data into a format such that I can manipulate it into the right import format. So let's try that now. So first thing I'm going to do is sort this spreadsheet so that I only get the products that I want, and those are the ones with an ISBN, because if I don't have an ISBN on a product, I haven't got an identifying key, and I can't say to Consonance, this is the product I want to update. I mean, we could have done it with the Consonance ID itself, but we didn't, because I think most of the time when you have a price, you will also have an ISBN 13. But If that's an edge case that we haven't satisfied, then definitely drop us a line. Anything is possible. So what am I going to do? I'm going to sort by publisher's ISBN. I'm going to click OK. Actually, I should just pause on that and say these are like self-service options that we're talking about here. These are self-service importers. But we do a lot of one-off ad hoc data imports for our treasured clients very often. So definitely, you know, if you do come to something like this and then you think, oh, gosh, it goes almost there but not quite far enough, absolutely contact us. It's not like it's a money thing as well. Most of the time there's no need to charge additional money. We are here to serve. Well, kind of. So I'm looking for my ISBN column. So these are the rows that have got ISBNs. Lovely. And that means I'm just going to delete the rest because I'm not interested in updating them. And look what Excel has done. Oh, it's this standard form, isn't it? My maths GCSE kicking in there. Which I'm not, oh, is it exponential? Oh no, I'm going to fail my maths GCSE. This is bad news. Some type of format that I don't want to see my ISBN in. And even when I do that, and so, you know, you can see, wow, it's fine. The actual data that's stored there is fine, but it's presenting in an unpleasing way. So I find it much better if you select the whole column, right mouse, format cells, select number, 0 decimal places, and remember this is as it went in the documentation. And then we can see the ISBN. So that's the approach to do there. The other columns, most of these aren't needed, so we can get rid of that. And we don't need the title as well, do you remember? So we've got our ISBN now, but we'll keep it in, I guess, because then we can see, our sort of human brains can engage and see which ones are which. Don't need that, but we do need the others. So I'm deleting all of that. And then I'm going to copy the data that's useful. I mean, if there was more data here, I could be doing a great big copy like that. But I'm trying to get this starting data into my template so that I can reason with it. So let's hide that for a moment. Make this a bit smaller so I can see it. And you know, we've got a blank template at the moment. I'm going to Command V to paste in there. Oh, sad news. It's going bong. Why is it going bong? It's one of those things like it's the shape is different or something, isn't it? No, it's just bonging all the way. So I shall get my price again. Copy and paste. Didn't bong that time. Fine. And I'm going to use this information to, actually, let's get that on the same level. I'm going to use this information to set up my import. So, I mean, what you're now watching is somebody using Excel. So it's as thrilling as it promises to be. But we are, hopefully, by doing this sort of very human process, we'll introduce some nice errors and then be able to troubleshoot as we go. So I've added in the title. The currency code, I'm going to grab from that column, copy and paste. The price type. Now, if we go back to the documentation, it will tell us to use the code, not the words, because codes are much less likely to have funny formatting errors introduced, like weird white space characters or a typo or a capitalization or something just a bit odd. So let's go back to the docs, see what RRP including tax is. RRP including tax. And it's this sort. RRP including tax is value 02. So that is the code that I'm going to use for my RRP including tax prices. RRP including tax. And it's the price type. And I paste it in my 02. It's just corrected it to 2. And I think, well, is that a thing? Am I going to break the whole thing? And you'll be glad to know that no, you are not going to break the whole thing. It says in price type, Excel may remove the leading 0 from your 01 or 02 or whatever code. The importer will convert 1 to 01. To be clear, the importer can process either 01 or 1 as the Onyx code. So there's a relief. We can carry on having put 2 in there. And what I would probably do if I was doing this, at scale, would be to do a find and replace. So find all instances of RRP including tax and replace it with the code. But I'm quite enjoying this very literal process just to get everything squared away. So RRP excluding tax, price type RRP excluding tax. Let's have a look. RRP excluding tax is 01. Excluding any sales tax or value added tax. Great. So I'm going to put 01 in there, and it's going to immediately convert it to 1, but I'm all right with that because I know that it's going to work. So that's the price type done. Lovely. Then we're looking at the price qualifier, and the price qualifier for all of these prices is consumer price. That's because, as we've said, Feline Press is only interested in managing consumer price, but if we were managing library price or member or subscription price, then this might be different. But we're going to go and look what consumer price is in the price qualifier code list, price type qualifier code list, and consumer price is 05. So we're going to go and put that in. Again, pasting is going to strip out that 0. You'll notice that I'm on a Mac here, and this is Excel for Mac. So who knows what normal Windows Excel does, but if it strips out that 5, then we are in the same place. So I know which prices I'm talking about now, and I've got my original price amount here, which I'm going to bring over. I can cut X and then V, yes. So this is my old price amount, and maybe I want to increase everything by 10%. Let's do that. So what I'm going to do is use an Excel formula, equals, and then what am I going to do? That times 1.05, and that's going to give me 19.99 with 5% added. Fine. And then I'm going to do the same for everything, even that massively expensive one down there. So that all seems fine, but I've got a couple of issues with my spreadsheet here. I've broken some rules. One of them is I've got extra columns in place. So the first thing I'm going to do is delete that. What's happened? You see the price amount has gone. So the first thing to do here is copy the values that have been created by a formula, right mouse, find paste special, find values, click on that, and there we are, the values have been pasted. Now you can see, can't you? Look, it says more than 2 decimal places there. So I know that's going to be an issue. I'm going to leave 1 in just as a fun sample, but the rest I'm going to resolve now. So these are actual numbers, these aren't the result of a formula. So I'm going to copy that, pop it there, and then I'm going to use another Excel formula, which I think is round. Yeah, round, and I get my original number, and then Excel's quite nice. Look, it says what the next argument is. So number of digits is 2. I want it to be 2. I don't really know if that's worked because it's still a function. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy, I'm going to drag that down first of all so that all of these are rounded. And then I'm going to copy and paste special and put just values in. Paste special values. And now when I'm looking up here, I can see that my price has been rounded to a maximum of 2 decimal places. So now I know that Consonance is going to accept that. But I'm going to get rid of these columns because we know that the import will fail if that happens. So delete that. And I'm going to sneakily add in a bit of dodgy data here. So I'm going to say this one is 3 decimal places, and we know that Constance is going to fall over on that, but that's okay. In fact, maybe what I'll do as well is delete the currency code, and then we can see 2 failures. Very exciting. So I'm saving that file. Prices saved to my Mac. I'm going to go back to Consonance, go to the import place, which is data exchange imports, new import and prices. And then I'm going to select my spreadsheet and find it. I think it's that one, might be that one. And then upload and validate. And I can do this with sort of fairly, light sense about me, because I know that if it all goes horribly wrong, I'm not gonna have to undo a load of data. This is uploading the data into this staging area, so it's going to be fine. I was just thinking though, one of the things that I always do when I'm importing any amount of data is to import 1 record's worth of information, because then you get if you are if there's any ambiguity about whether you're doing this right or not, it's a low touch way to get everything squared away, to have a dry run, but with real data, and then see it appear and then think, oh yeah, fine, this is all great. It just, it's a quiet life, isn't it? It just makes it much more stress-free to try these things. So it's completely recommended to start with a single record's worth of data and see how it goes. But let's go back to Consonance and see how our current thing is going. So we imported it. It's this most recent one at the top here, and Consonance knows that it's a price importer because of the columns at the top there. This is today's date. Can you believe it? Oh my goodness, first day of spring. And it says successfully processed, but errors need correcting. So intriguing. Tell me more. So I click on the 3 dots here and look at view import. And it's going to say, well, the first 3 were fine, very nice, green ticks all round, pat on the back. But this last line, like data row number 5, if you go back to your spreadsheet, got a bit of bother here. We haven't got a currency code, and we haven't got a price amount, or at least we have, but it's invalid. Only decimals to 2 decimal places are allowed. So we can't approve this. Look, I can click like mad and it's just not going to happen. This isn't a file that's got data that we can be assured is going to work out for you. So it's back to Excel, I'm afraid. It's back to Excel, and we're going to add back in a price there. You'll notice, I mean, the interesting thing here is that we are updating existing prices. We're not introducing new prices at the moment, and you can absolutely do that, provided that your account is set up to be managing these prices. So I could be typing in, ISBNs and new currencies. So this import works for both creating new prices and updating existing ones, and deleting prices if that's what you want to have happen, by leaving the cell blank. So another look at the whole thing. Let's take that decimal place off. Yep, we're satisfied that that's looking good. We're happy with the various price types and price qualifiers. We can delete the title column if we want to, but that's right there. So I'm going to save that. I'm just going to increment that to be updated. It's only a demo. Stop obsessing. And then we are going to try again. So hit the back button. I mean, for tidiness, I quite like to, clear it behind me, delete that previous one that didn't quite work out, and then I know that I've got a nice summary of things that happened, or keep that for reference. Like There Be Dragons. Make sure that your colleagues can see that you had a go, but there were some errors. Whatever works. But we can try again, import prices, get that, upload and validate. And again, we're going to wait for that to get through the queue and get uploaded and looked at. So the next step after this, I mean, I'm expecting that I'll come back here in a moment and it will all look completely green and everything will be ready to import into the system. And then we'll go and look in the metadata page itself to see those prices updated again. But that's really the summary of it. I guess there's a troubleshooting question here, which shouldn't trouble you actually. We've looked at downloading existing prices. We've looked at raising a ticket, always a great idea. And then again, you know, there's no reason for you to try and hold the requirements in your head from import to import. It's these instructions are always here. So in fact, I've played a large part in writing this system, and I have this documentation open when I'm doing my imports, because it's one less thing to have to worry about and hold in your head. So let's have a look. Let's see how that's going. This time it is great. We've got 4 prices processed. I can flick back to Excel and think, did I do 4? Yeah, I did 4. No errors. Woohoo! And 4 prices can be approved. And just in case I want to, really scrutinise that, I can go and view the import. And I can see, yep, on those data rows, those are the ISBNs, there's the currency codes, all fantastic. And then I can approve the import, and that's going to get queued. Now, 4 prices won't take very long, but if that was 1 million, then the system is taking that into a background job, and it's going to reserve its own little bit of server processing just for this job, and it's going to trundle through them until millions and millions of prices have been updated. So it won't time out. You can see the status of the price import here. And here we can see that 4 prices have been saved to the database. So let's go and have a look at Cats Through History, this incredible bestseller. And let's have a look at pricing. And we can see now that our prices have been imported, and Constance is giving us, a bit of a heads up, like, well, you've increased that, but that's looking a bit different now. So, useful information for sure. And then there's nothing to stop you coming in here and refining the prices, or reasoning with it a little bit further, performing that whole loop again. If you want to change the prices there, and then continue to manage your prices in the way that is appropriate to you. So there's a whole different deep dive that we can talk about with agency pricing. And with managing supplier specific pricing, but that one's all for another day. For now, all I'm going to do is copy my metadata from the hovery thing there, and I'm going to be able to email my contacts and say this product has been updated and this is the current price, and that's all great, and that will start flowing out in Onyx if this were real and if there was an actual Onyx feed set up for this cat's Fandango. So there we go. So that is the deep dive into importing prices. As I say, if you want a deep dive about anything in particular, then definitely drop us a line, let us know. Until such time as we get some special requests like a bibliographic DJ, we're going to be stepping through the Consonance 101 page. We've done new works and products last week. We're going to do import data from spreadsheets. We've done literally just done that long ago. Next week we're doing import image and content files, and then we'll carry on into managing data and getting data through workflow and then out into the world where it can get in front of readers. So that is it for today. Oh, you see, look, I'm not showing you the right screen, sorry. Got all excited that I'd managed to get through the whole live stream, and then right at the last minute didn't show you the screen. So it's this is the list of stuff that we're going to be going through over the course of the next few weeks. So as I say, let us know if there's anything in particular that you want us to add to this list, and any enhancements to documentation. You know, it's really nice to be able to chip away, keep improving things. Fantastic. Well, before I stop streaming today, I'm going to say please subscribe if you want to get a heads up on the next live stream, but it's always here. You know, you can watch on catch up whenever and whenever it's appropriate and relevant to what you're doing in your day. And everything that we've talked about today is documented on the website and also in the interface on those hovery pop-up help text areas. So always read the instructions and then drop us a line at support@consonance.app when you need some extras. Great, well, thank you very much indeed, and see you next time for importing image and content files